Hello and welcome to this first session of the SocialSend Masterclass. Very excited to be putting this together. So I just wanted to cover a bit of housekeeping on what this video is for, and how the rest of the course is going to play out, and why I've decided to do it the way that I have. So first of all, it's a foundation video. We're going to cover a lot of the basic principles of social media marketing in general. If you didn't purchase the SocialSend Masterclass course, you can watch this video free of charge. There's quite a lot of good stuff going to be in it. And then if you watch the video and you like it, and if you choose to, and you'd like to take one last chance to join the SocialSend Masterclass before we start, there'll be a link somewhere around this video where you'll be able to purchase that if you want to join. So firstly, the plan for this course. Now, as I've already stated, in this video we're going to cover the basic principles of social media marketing in general, to get everyone sort of up to speed. How and why content works on each individual platform and the platforms that we're going to be working with. This isn't really a course about SocialSend as such. It's not a course about how the software itself works, or even how you can use the software. Obviously, I'm going to be using the software at some point in this training, but this is a social media marketing program. The tutorials that are inside the SocialSend dashboard, they are there to show you how the software works, and then it's up to you to use the software in whatever way fits your business. What we're going to do is after this video, we're going to be meeting live for the first session. So the way I've decided to do it is that I'm going to give this video, which gives a sort of brief outline of what we're going to be doing. Also some foundation knowledge on social media marketing itself. And then the first session was always going to be a live session. So I want to get some questions and answers from everyone and sort of see where I can just help with anything that's affecting you or your business or your social media marketing right now. That's going to be on Friday the 27th of December. It's very close to Christmas now. We've just closed the SocialSend launch. So what I decided to do is do this video so that you've got something to be looking at, get something to be getting on with. You've got the SocialSend software itself to be getting to grips with. And then we'll do the first live Q&A session, and that video will also be recorded in case you can't make it. And then as soon as that live training session is complete, all the recorded training, so the 7 recorded modules, they'll be released immediately after. So then you'll have this basic foundational video. You'll have the software itself to be getting on with. Do Christmas with your family. Have the first live session. Then all the training will be released. And then immediately after that training, well, a week after that recorded training is released, we'll then have a final live session. So you've got a live session with recorded sessions sandwiched in between 2 live sessions. So you can ask questions at the beginning, then go through all the training, and then ask questions at the end. So hopefully can then apply it to your business specifically. Then we'll hold the last live Q&A session. We'll cover all the bases on that, and we will make sure that we let you know in advance the date and exactly when that's going to be. So the first thing, now we get into the training, the first thing to consider with all posts, a social post is sort of like a mini sales letter. Headlines are what attract attention in any kind, whether it's a newspaper, whether it's an advert, whether it's a sales page, whether it's a sales video. It's your headlines that attract attention. This is sort of like basic copywriting, really. Keep all headlines on. This is on social media specifically. All headlines between 5 and 10 words long, and you want to be asking open-ended questions. Create mystery. For example, the 7 tips for ABC. And tip number 4 will blow you away. Now, just to go back to that, I just want to cover something here. Clickbait is not advised at all. If you say 7 tips for ABC and tip 4 will blow you away, you need to make sure that tip 4 is definitely going to blow you away. Otherwise, you've lost them before you even started. So attention span on social media platforms is very low. You would need to be grabbing attention with these headlines. But as I just said, be ethical, do not clickbait. It's just going to kill your clout before you've even started. So now let's look at algorithms. We're going to look at each platform, and we're going to see what works and why it works, and what also, which I forgot to put on this slide, what you can also do to sort of make the most out of the way each individual platform works, specifically to that platform. In case you're not familiar, an algorithm, or in the context of social media platforms, is a set of rules that a platform uses to determine visibility. Now, obviously, an algorithm itself is a sort of format of code, but in terms of social media platforms, it's how they determine the visibility of a post, an account, a profile, a user, however you want to, depending on the platform. So let's begin with Facebook. Now, the new Facebook algorithm is based on 4 core factors. It's also it's pretty widely regarded now as being one of the most sophisticated ranking algorithms that's ever been devised, because of machine learning and this kind of stuff. Obviously, Google are right up there as well, but Facebook have really, really come on with their algorithms over the last 12 months or so. So let's look at each in detail. We've got inventory, signals, predictions, and final score. So inventory, this is simply the total volume of content available from friends and publishers. So me as a Facebook user, it's the total volume of all the content that's available from anybody that's running ads to my profile, any of the pages that I like, any of the groups, all of my friends, that kind of stuff. So it's the total inventory of every single piece of content that's available to me as an individual. Then you've got signals, pretty self-explanatory, likes, shares, comments, that kind of stuff. This is the only factor that we, as either an advertiser or as a content producer, we actually have some sort of control over. And I put control in inverted commas because it's not something that you can sort of game, if you like. It's more something that we have control over because we have control of the quality of the content that we create. Predictions. Now, this is where Facebook get a little bit sort of clever with this. This revolves around the existing behaviour of a user and predictions about how they will respond to that particular piece of content. Final score. This is the score that's attributed to a specific piece of content based on all of the above factors that we've just been talking about. Now, obviously, nobody apart from the people who devise the actual algorithms, and I'm sure there's plenty of people even inside Facebook who don't know the specifics of how an algorithm works, but this is the information that's available to us. It's the stuff that we know that we know has an impact, and what that final score would actually be would totally depend on how Facebook are running an algorithm, and bearing in mind that the way the algorithm works is tweaked and changed all the time as well. But these are the things that we know we have some sort of control over, something that we can actually do something about. So meaningful interactions, and this is Facebook words, this is what they call it. Meaningful interactions are heavily weighted by Facebook themselves. Luckily, this is something that we can influence with our content. You want to be a conversation starter. As we discussed earlier, asking questions, encouraging interactions, so asking for photo comments, etc. All of these do this, and it's the great thing about this as well is it's stuff that people love to do. They love to do it. It's you as a content producer not being lazy and just throwing out anything there. It's about thinking carefully about what would get people started into a conversation. And once that conversation starts, because the conversation comes in the forms of likes, shares, comments, that kind of stuff, and you replying to the comments and whatever else, that is in social media terms the conversation. The best bit of advice that I can give is with your posts. I know plenty of people who post on Facebook who do this and have fantastic success. I won't name any names here, but by telling people things is generally you're not going to get as good certainly in the vast majority of mass market niches, you're not going to get as good a response from telling somebody something as you are from asking them something. People generally like to be asked something as opposed to being told something. This is going to generate those meaningful interactions, which then creates the signals and then increases the predictions over time, because you're going to have users that are interacting with your posts more often. So that means when you release a new piece of content, the people that have interacted with that in the past, the prediction is going to be there that they're going to interact with this one, and this over time gives you a massive advantage on Facebook. So exactly as Facebook always wanted, Google went exactly the same way. In the beginning, you could game the Google platform with search engine optimization and backlinks and all kinds of crazy stuff that we used to do years ago. But eventually, over time, Google have managed to crack it in the same way that Facebook have. That by in most cases, getting good results on their platforms is with engaging content that people interact with. Trying to game the system is actually much harder than just creating engaging content. It really is. So Twitter. Now, the first thing to know about Twitter is they have if you're a user of Twitter, I'm not actually a massive user of Twitter, but I do know about it from a marketing point of view. But they have two timelines. So latest tweets is chronologically ordered, and it isn't affected by an algorithm. It's literally just the latest tweets. But the top tweet feed, which is where they've tried to put most of their sort of, their efforts, is affected by an algorithm. Now, bear in mind, we never know all the details about any platform's algorithm, but here's what we do know about Twitter. Recency. Now, this is similar to time decay on Facebook. More recent tweets rank better, and that's not just on the recent tweets timeline. This even applies to the top tweets as well. A tweet being recent plays a part in the ranking algorithm for the top tweets. Engagement. Now, obviously, similar to Facebook, but on Twitter, this is retweets, clicks, favorites. Relevant engagement to past tweets. So if a user has had relevant engagement to your past tweets, and also a sort of inflated overall engagement with you as the author, then that applies to the algorithm as well. So it's sort of like there's a bit of a sort of historical aspect to the algorithm there. Rich media. Images, GIFs, videos do better if the reader engages with that kind of content more often, but we know that they do. Other factors that apply to Twitter: how long the author has been away from Twitter. So if the author of a Twitter account has been away for 1 year and they suddenly just come up and make a tweet, that is not going to get weighted anywhere near as sort of heavily as someone who tweets often. The number of followers that a Twitter account has plays a part in the ranking algorithm. The location. So, for example, if you live in the USA, you're not going to get by and large, you're not going to get sort of hit with as many tweets from, say, Africa or Europe, unless you are proven to be engaging with those posts more often. And then again, how often the author tweets. So that goes back to how long the author has been away from Twitter, but also an account that tweets that sort of tweets stably and often and predictably will have a better outcome in the algorithm. So this is some of the tips to rank. We've covered some of these, but just to sort of highlight them. Tweet often. Tweet at the right peak times. Now, this depends on your time zones. It depends on your niche in a lot of cases. A bit of research on this kind of stuff will help. We do cover all this stuff in all the later videos that come. This is, again, I'm just highlighting everything here. Using branded hashtags, very much like Google sort of tended to take away keyword match domains a while back, and they were sort of more focused on a branded user customer experience. Twitter have also gone a similar way with hashtags. Just using sort of like hashtag Justin Bieber on a post that's to do with dog grooming is going to have very little effect at all on the algorithm these days. They've figured all that stuff out now. Same with Instagram. We'll cover that a bit later. Again, use very relevant hashtags, even if those hashtags don't have necessarily a large amount of sort of tweets associated to the hashtag. You're still gonna get much better effect by using relevant hashtags than you are by using completely irrelevant ones, but with millions of tweets. Using rich media, as we've covered. Reply to commenters. So this is, again, sort of like sparking that conversation and keeping that conversation going. When someone comments, even if it's negative, reply to it, because that is going to have an effect on your algorithm, on your ranking factors, and later will affect the algorithm in your favour as that sort of snowballs. Increasing your followers, we're going to cover this later in the course. Now, Instagram. The core thing to remember with Instagram is they want people on the site longer because they want people to see more ads. They achieved this by three main ranking factors, as they cleared up during a press meeting that they had last year, which is quite rare for most of these sort of social platforms. They actually had a press meeting where they invited members of the press, and they went through some of the ranking factors, which is again not very normal. Relationship. Simply put, Instagram will prioritize content from accounts that users engage with more often. So if you, as an Instagram user, if you engage with a brand or an account's Instagram posts more often than say another one, then they will just show for you more often. Very straightforward, really. interest. This is quite advanced machine learning, actually. It's probably more advanced. It's even more advanced than I realised until I really started looking into it. They can actually check the content of the images, very similar to sort of like reverse image type stuff. They can check the content of the images for relevancy to past user engagement. So if I've been engaging with pictures of dogs, for example, but none of those posts had any kind of hashtags that let you know it was a dog, or maybe even wasn't from a dog-related account. If another image of a dog is placed up, there's more chance that I'm going to see that, because the machine learning algorithm that Instagram have can actually analyze the content of the image, which is quite amazing when you think about it. Relevancy, like all social media platforms, fresh and regular content does the best. Other factors that play into here: frequency of user app use. So, for example, if someone uses their Instagram account more often than the next user, they're obviously more likely to see more pieces of content. It's quite straightforward when you think about it, but it does apply to the algorithm, because they can then analyze better what kind of content that user uses. The following count. More accounts means less from one account. So if you're following lots and lots of accounts on Instagram, then obviously the likelihood of you seeing a piece of content from any one of those accounts is going to be much less likely than if you follow less accounts, if that makes sense. User session time. So if a user spends longer on the app, they'll go further into the inventory of content. So if I spend, say, 45 minutes or 1 hour or 2 hours a day on Instagram, obviously I'm going to go deeper and deeper and deeper into that inventory of content. Every time I refresh the news feed, there's going to be new content there for me. So that's just again, it's basic, but it does factor into the ranking algorithm, because they have more information, more data on that user. Tips to rank, again, post more often, posting video. Now, there's no preference at all, so Instagram say, on video, unless the user prefers video. So me as an Instagram user, if I engage with video more often than images, I will be shown more video. But if I, as an Instagram account holder, if I post an image and a video, that is no more likely to be seen just because it's a video, if that makes sense. It will only be shown to people who like video more. But the stats show that people do engage with video more often, so posting video is always a good thing. Posting at peak times, again, we're going to go into this more in later videos. I'm going to really go deep into showing exactly when to post, depending on niche, depending on location, the proven sort of statistics on when people engage with posts more often, and we'll go through a lot of stats for all that. Be personal, chat with commenters. Again, straightforward, but get that conversation going. It's really important. Quality hashtag use, again, very similar to Twitter. Just going after hashtag Justin Bieber is not going to do you any good whatsoever if your post is about something completely irrelevant. First of all, the chances of you being seen in that massive newsfeed are so slim, and also Instagram, being owned by Facebook now with their sort of user experience based algorithm, they're just going to cotton onto that, and also it looks very desperate as well from a user point of view. If you're posting something to do with a clothes shop, for example, and you're hashtagging something completely irrelevant just to get people to try and see it, just looks very desperate and not very professional. Contests on Instagram can give sort of short-term boosts when done right. Again, we're going to cover all that in later videos. Encourage notifications, so people can turn on notifications for your account, but don't do this casually in conversation. So people who comment suggest maybe thanks for commenting on this post. Please look at turning notifications on so you can see our posts more quickly in future, something like that. And then all in all, just make good posts. That's the main thing. Remember, we're going to go into all of the above plus much more in detail in the main course, which will be released right after the live session on December the 27th. So have a great Christmas. I look forward to our first live session, and then the final session after you've been through all the training. Thanks a lot for watching. This was Simon Greenhouse, Social Send Masterclass. Take care. Have a good Christmas.